A freshly retired naval officer walks in on two juvenile criminals brutally attacking his wife and child. He thinks at worst he'll be charged with excessive self-defense, but because of his special forces background, the judge rules it premeditated murder on the spot. The reason? The man's combat skills far exceed those of juvenile offenders. With one intruder dead and one injured, the court deems it an act of emotional killing. Hearing this, the man's face fills with disbelief. What about his dead wife and his son who's now in a vegetative state? But the judge brushes this aside and sentences him to 10 years in prison. As the verdict goes public, media outlets denounce him as scum who killed a citizen. The killer's mother, backed by public support, holds up her son's portrait and screams at him as he enters prison, "You monster! He was just a child. How could you do this?" After entering prison, he can't understand why he's met such a tragic fate. A criminal he once personally arrested and sent to prison grabs him by the hair and mocks him cruelly. "Well, if it isn't our decorated national hero, what brings you here serving time for murder? I heard the other thug who attacked your family still denies killing your wife, blames everything on his dead partner, claims he has mental illness, and only got 5 years with reduced sentencing." These words completely enrage the man. Why does the person who brutalized his family get only 5 years while he gets 10? In his fury, he instantly grabs the mocking criminal by the throat with one hand and hurls him violently toward the cell door. Along with over a dozen other inmates who rush to attack, every single one gets beaten into a bloody pulp. After this incident, he's permanently locked in a pitch-black solitary cell, lifeless as a wandering ghost, until someone claiming to be a National Assembly member suddenly appears. Getting straight to the point, he asks, "You're Kim Tae-pil, right? Former Iraqi Navy major, hero of the Jumgang Jubilee hijacking incident, also known as Vajra Yaksha, a soldier who was supposed to protect the nation and its people, had his home invaded by criminals on his retirement day, lost control and killed a pleading civilian, becoming what people call a murderer." To this, Kim Tae-pil recalls why he joined the military. Back then, he believed that risking everything to protect those behind him was justice, so he dedicated all his beliefs and honor to that faith. But in reality, this country didn't protect his family and instead branded him a murderer and threw him in prison. He simply punished the criminals who killed his family. How is that a crime? Hearing this, Assemblyman Shi Jin-soo says that victims seeking revenge on perpetrators cannot be treated as the same kind of crime. But that's how the law judges it, although people believe the law stands on the side of justice. In this world where good and evil are blurred beyond distinction, the law can't even protect the smallest justice. So what Shi Jin-soo intends to do now is completely overturn this corrupt law, ensure no one's death is ever unjust again, ensure victims and their families never suffer again, and establish true justice in this nation. After laying this groundwork, Shi Jin-soo reveals his true purpose: to invite Kim Tae-pil to become a public punishment proxy executor, simply called a punisher. In this process, his criminal record will be erased, and he'll leave prison a free man. Of course, the prerequisite is passing the test. If Kim Tae-pil accepts the proposal, he'll be temporarily released on furlough for testing purposes. If he passes successfully, he'll become a punisher, shed the stigma, and become a father his child can be proud of. With every word Shi Jin-soo speaks, Kim Tae-pil's heart aches intensely for his son who remains in a vegetative state, for changing this filthy and unjust world. He agrees to the proposal without a moment's hesitation. He removes the prison uniform that symbolizes shame and stands in the light for the first time in years. As the two get in the car and leave, Shi Jin-soo discusses how Kim Tae-pil became a murderer. The fundamental reason is that we live in an era of imprisonment. In a capitalist society, we can't simply use money to compensate for crimes because that would be unfair. The value of money is relative. Tens of millions mean nothing to the wealthy, but to ordinary citizens or the poor, it's an astronomical sum. So what standard should society use to judge criminal responsibility? Kim Tae-pil thinks it could be time, since time is equal for both the rich and poor. But Shi Jin-soo's thinking is completely different. Is the time of a 70-year-old facing death the same as that of a 3-year-old with a bright future ahead? Or is 1 hour spent with a happy family the same as 1 hour for someone whose spouse was taken by a murderer? So in Shi Jin-soo's view, nothing is more relative in value than time. If the current legal standard for criminal responsibility isn't fair, what would be the fairest method? Shi Jin-soo spent a long time and finally found the answer in ancient history. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The lex talionis, also known as the Code of Hammurabi. Shi Jin-soo will use this legal system to restore justice to this era. Kim Tae-pil is somewhat puzzled. Why can't existing forces like the police implement this change? Hearing this, Shi Jin-soo can't help but scoff. Don't you know better than anyone? The police are just thugs working under the existing law. A new system requires a new organization. Punishers and police have fundamental differences. Police are investigative bodies. Punishers are punitive bodies. The reason for choosing Kim Tae-pil is precisely because as a fellow victim, he can best understand the pain of being harmed. Although gathering people like Kim Tae-pil in the early stages will face strong opposition. If they can achieve justice and prove its value, people will eventually change their perception of punishers adventures, from simply hiring thugs to teach criminals a lesson to becoming heroes standing on the side of justice. Finally, the vehicle stops at a hospital. Kim Tae-pil finally sees his son Jian-woo. During these years when they couldn't meet, Jian-woo has quietly grown so much. This growth fills Kim Tae-pil with immense pain. It also strengthens his resolve that no matter the cost, he must seize this opportunity, pass the test, create a society where people can truly live in peace, and welcome Jian-woo's future. The first test Shi Jin-soo proposes is to verify Kim Tae-pil's combat ability. 24 vicious murderers survive for 10 minutes and he passes the test. At this moment, Kim Tae-pil faces a criminal charging at him. With his special forces background, he uses just one move to instantly knock him unconscious. Looking at the remaining 20+ murderers frozen in shock, Kim Tae-pil tells them they might as well all come at once. 10 minutes later, when Shi Jin-soo opens the door, he witnesses all the murderers lying in pools of blood. Most previous test takers barely managed to suppress 4 to 5 criminals and hold out. Clearly, Kim Tae-pil's combat capability far exceeds ordinary standards. Shi Jin-soo immediately announces he's passed the first stage of testing. But combat ability is only the basic requirement for becoming a Punisher. Shi Jin-soo then shows a video of an active Punisher who passed all tests faster than Kim Tae-pil. The small-framed Punisher, wearing a distinctive mask, faces a large martial arts expert with swift techniques, yet still easily gains the upper hand. What Shi Jin-soo wants to convey is that it's harder to subdue opponents without killing them than to kill them. The punishment process isn't simply fighting or engaging in one-sided violence. Rather, Punishers must punish criminals according to the crimes they committed. Combined with completely overwhelming force, they return the victim's suffering in equal measure. The current punishment system is still in its infancy and can only handle some long-standing violent cases. With that, Shi Jin-soo hands Kim Tae-pil a document. This is the second stage practical test. Punish the criminal in the photo. During the process, examiners will use action cameras to assess whether he properly punishes the designated target. Furthermore, no methods that violate the law beyond the punishment itself are allowed. He cannot endanger citizens and must complete the task quietly. That evening, while Kim Tae-pil eats fast food at a convenience store, he happens to spot his target. After following him into a residential building, Kim Tae-pil stands at the criminal's door. He looks at the letters scattered on the floor and the broken doorbell. It's clear the criminal is deliberately avoiding outside contact. Plus, he's specifically installed a surveillance camera, so getting him to show himself won't be easy. So Kim Tae-pil has no choice but to hide at the stairwell corner and observe secretly. Soon after, he sees a delivery person leave a meal box at the guy's door. Once the person leaves, a hand sneaks out from inside to grab the food. Witnessing this, Kim Tae-pil instantly thinks of a plan. He enters a restaurant and begins implementing his plan. He completely fails to notice someone behind him quietly watching him, with a meaningful smile. When the unsuspecting Kim Tae-pil disguises himself as a delivery person and prepares to lure the criminal inside to show himself, he discovers someone has already beaten him to it. That person is the girl who was just watching him. The girl, also disguised as a delivery person, brazenly shouts at the camera telling the person inside to open up because the food has arrived. Sure enough, this tactic works. The criminal immediately pokes his head out saying he didn't order any food, then reveals his massive frame and threatens the girl to get lost if she doesn't want to die. But the girl is no pushover. She remains calm and points to the file in her hand, explaining, "The location is correct. This is your exclusive punishment delivery." She then opens the file and reads, "Park Soo-chul with 9 prior convictions. One day at 2 in the morning, you got into a dispute with a delivery person, causing orbital fractures and facial nerve damage, among other special injuries." With that, the girl immediately raises her right leg and kicks toward the criminal's head. Because Park Soo-chul has been evading legal punishment, tonight she'll enforce the penalty on behalf of the law. The girl then begins attacking him fiercely, but unexpectedly, Park Soo-chul seizes the opportunity to grab one of her legs. Using his massive size advantage, he instantly regains control and pins her to the ground, pounding her viciously. Fortunately, at the critical moment, the girl kicks Park Soo-chul away and quickly rolls backward to create distance. Just as she plans to retreat further and find another opening, she's suddenly blocked by a wall. With nowhere to retreat, the girl takes a brutal hit from Park Soo-chul. Her ribs on the side of her chest crack instantly. Intense pain floods her body in an instant, making her collapse to the ground coughing uncontrollably. Seeing this, Park Soo-chul immediately raises his large foot and stomps viciously on the defenseless girl. Then he grabs her by the hair and yanks her up, saying viciously that this is just the beginning and she's already done. But as he speaks, a tear rolls down the girl's cheek. A terrifying figure now stands right behind Park Soo-chul, suddenly swinging a metal delivery box. He catches Park Soo-chul completely off guard and smashes him senseless. Now it's Kim Tae-pil's turn to deliver the punishment. As Park Soo-chul tries to get up and resist, Kim Tae-pil easily strikes him back down. Kim Tae-pil immediately demands to know why he did such things to that delivery person. Unexpectedly, Park Soo-chul laughs dismissively, saying of course it's because that lowly delivery guy annoyed him. Hearing this, Kim Tae-pil Tae-pil instantly kicks up hard at his jaw and presses down firmly on his vulnerable throat. He orders him to recall right now exactly what he did wrong. On the edge of suffocation, Park Soo-chul, to save his life, can only follow Kim Tae-pil's command and recall that day. At the time, the delivery person smiled as he brought out the meal and wished him a happy day. But Park Soo-chul thought this was mocking him, since he clearly didn't look happy at all. So just as the delivery person was about to leave, he suddenly splashed scalding noodle soup in his face. Even as the delivery person screamed from the burns, Park Soo-chul still wasn't satisfied and lifted an iron box to continue the assault. Learning the truth is this horrific, Kim Tae-pil angrily removes his foot from Park Soo-chul's throat. Then he swings his iron-like fist. For that victim who couldn't even cry properly and had to be hospitalized for 2 months to treat orbital fractures and facial nerve damage, Kim Tae-pil decisively pounds Park Soo-chul's face relentlessly. Finally, after completing the punishment, he warns him never to do such things again. Otherwise, next time his head won't be spared. With that, he carries the injured girl and leaves. What surprises Kim Tae-pil, though, is that after being beaten so viciously by Park Soo-chul, the girl only has minor contusions and broken ribs. To this, the girl suddenly performs an agile high kick and proudly explains she used to be a taekwondo athlete, a rising star in the industry. But later she discovered that skill alone wasn't enough. Dirty political maneuvering was also required. Until one day, she merely fought back against an attack by suspicious individuals and ended up branded a violent offender with a criminal record, permanently expelled from the sports world. However, just as she was worrying about how to make ends meet, a man claiming to be a National Assembly member approached her and invited her to join the Punisher ranks, but she's only now realizing that becoming a Punisher just to escape her current situation won't work. With that, she bows apologetically to Kim Tae-pil, admitting she stole his delivery person disguise idea and unethically cut in line during the test. Hearing this, Kim Tae-pil says it doesn't matter. He never thought of this as a competition. Who punishes the criminal first isn't important. As long as justice is served, that's enough. But just as he finishes speaking, Shi Jin-soo's call comes through. During this test, Kim Tae-pil committed no violations and even admirably rescued his competitor, Miss Shin Yu-bin. Unfortunately, Miss Yu-bin fell into danger due to her competitive mindset and must be eliminated. But even so, it cannot be confirmed whether Kim Tae-pil qualifies. Kim Tae-pil handled the simple violence appropriately, but this incident wasn't simple violence. It was a special injury case. Kim Tae-pil's handling of special injuries like burns was not thorough enough. Finally, Shi Jin-soo emphasizes again that the Punisher's task is to return the victim's suffering to the criminal in equal measure. So there's now disagreement. The final decision will be announced tomorrow morning. Hearing this, Shin Yu-bin quickly comforts Kim Tae-pil, saying someone this capable will definitely pass. He should go home and rest. Unexpectedly, Kim Tae-pil's expression suddenly becomes pained. Seeing this, Shin Yu-bin assumes he has nowhere to stay and shyly invites him to stay at her place for the night if he doesn't mind. Of course, her mother will be there too. This is also to thank Kim Tae-pil for saving her earlier. Kim Tae-pil smiles slightly. He has nowhere else to go for now anyway. The two then walk together on the way home. Just as Shin Yu-bin proudly mentions that she owes her athletic ability to her mother's genes, she suddenly witnesses a horrifying scene. Her apartment floor is engulfed in raging flames. In just an instant, the entire building is consumed by fire. This makes Shin Yu-bin's head spin. When she comes to her senses, she screams and tries to rush into the fire to save her mother. But the fire is too fierce. In this situation, there's nothing that can be done. Believing her mother has perished in the fire, Shin Yu-bin collapses to the ground in despair. But then, her phone suddenly rings with a call from her mother. Shin Yu-bin immediately answers excitedly, but never expects to hear Park Soo-chul's voice on the other end. Listen carefully. Bring that freak from earlier to the address I'm sending you within 30 minutes, or your mother will end up just like your apartment. After hearing Park Soo-chul's threatening words, Shin Yu-bin trembles with fear. At this point, Kim Tae-pil speculates that Park Soo-chul's memory is better than expected, based solely on Shin Yu-bin's appearance. He was able to investigate her detailed personal information, then staging an arson in such a short time suggests there's a sizable organization backing him. With that, Kim Tae-pil tells Shin Yu-bin to get up and go to the place Park Soo-chul mentioned, because he's already thought of a solution. Meanwhile, at the Il-ryu-ho gang, boss Andrew sits arrogantly on the sofa, criticizing his underling. Park Soo-chul is a troublemaker whose fat body houses nothing but water for brains. The organization now has over 30 active members. So what if that guy is tough to handle? If he's really that good at fighting, they should recruit him instead. Everyone has someone they care about. Use that leverage and you can turn anyone into an obedient lapdog. But unexpectedly, just as he finishes speaking, the door is suddenly kicked open. Kim Tae-pil has taken down all the henchmen stationed outside. He clenches his fists fiercely at those inside and declares that tonight he'll crush all their heads right here. Hearing this, Park Soo-chul is instantly terrified and flustered, stammering to his boss Andrew that the masked man before them is the one who beat him up. To this, Andrew smirks dismissively and immediately orders the Il-ryu-ho gang's strongest fighters, the F4, to deal with this arrogant, masked man right away. away. But unexpectedly, the middle-parted man who steps forward first hasn't even made a move, when Kim Tae-pil catches his jaw with his bare hand and slams him hard into the ground. With just one move, he's rendered completely incapable of resistance. Seeing this, Andrew hurriedly orders the remaining 3 to attack together. But without question, the fate of these men will only be more brutal than that of the middle-parted man. Only now does Andrew realize the masked man's abilities are absurdly beyond human. In his panic, he glares viciously at Shin Yu-bin's mother, attempting to take the woman hostage to escape disaster. Unexpectedly, he's intercepted by Shin Yu-bin, who suddenly appears, kicking him unconscious in one strike. At this moment, Park Soo-chul sees that even his boss has been subdued. He immediately prepares to flee, but Kim Tae-pil already said if he committed crimes again, his head wouldn't be spared. So with one flying kick, Park Soo-chul loses consciousness on the spot. After everything is resolved, Shin Yu-bin and her mother embrace and cry together. Witnessing this scene, Kim Tae-pil can't help but be moved. However, they shouldn't stay here long. They must leave quickly. To settle Shin Yu-bin and her mother, Kim Tae-pil returns to his former home, looking at the deeply familiar living room. That desperate scene replays before his eyes in a trance, but he can only suppress his grief and turn on the lights, letting Shin Yu-bin and her mother stay here with peace of mind. Shin Yu-bin is shocked and exclaims that he has such a nice place. Can they really stay here? Won't they be bothering him? Unexpectedly, Kim Tae-pil takes a deep breath and looks around, saying he still has things he must accomplish, so he can't return here for now. Seeing this, Shin Yu-bin believes that if it's him, everything will surely work out. They'll stay until then. As Kim Tae-pil leaves, he takes one last look at his home. He knows deeply that now is not the time. After changing the world for Jian-woo, who will soon wake up, it won't be too late to return to the home that once held all his happiness. So until this is accomplished, he absolutely cannot look back. Just then, his phone suddenly receives a text notification. Kim Tae-pil has indeed passed the test and officially become a Punisher, so he immediately follows the text to Punishment Headquarters, showing his acceptance result at the front desk. Moon Ha-cheon, the gatekeeper of Punishment Headquarters Management, didn't expect Kim Tae-pil to arrive so early, and quickly indicates that taking the elevator to the second basement level will bring him to the reporting location. As Kim Tae-pil enters the interior, he's stunned. He speculates to himself whether this was converted from a former military base, given such advanced equipment. Then, a suited man wearing sunglasses appears, and respectfully leads Kim Tae-pil into a conference room. Shi Jin-soo stands in the center and announces that starting today, the final piece of the puzzle for Punishment Headquarters, established to change the world, is complete. Welcome our 10th Punisher, Mr. Kim Tae-pil. The 9 Punishers already present all turn to look at the new member. Some of them have very friendly attitudes, while others publicly expose all of Kim Tae-pil's information, callously rubbing salt in his wounds. This makes Kim Tae-pil's expression instantly turn grave. Seeing this, Shi Jin-soo immediately explains that the Punishers present are all people in the same situation as Kim Tae-pil. They are criminals who suffered unjust punishment under unreasonable existing laws and bear the brand of injustice. Now all 10 Punishers are gathered here. Although their individual circumstances differ, everyone present is deeply pained by this nation's corrupt laws. Punishment Headquarters promises to erase everyone's unjust criminal records, that is, to start a new life in a new world. Finally, the hope is that everyone will work together to create a nation where criminals will definitely receive corresponding punishment. When the lengthy meeting finally ends, Kim Tae-pil can't help but explode, saying Shin Yu-bin's mother nearly became a victim because of punishing Park Soo-chul. Unexpectedly, Shi Jin-soo calmly explains that before such things happen, Punishment Headquarters will step in to handle it. With that, his expression suddenly turns harsh. Don't forget, actual punishment execution will be even more dangerous. Punishers cannot become prey but must become hunters. Through this incident, you should deeply understand that criminals won't change easily. Therefore, you must instill in them the fear that if they commit crimes, they will definitely receive corresponding punishment. He then has the sunglasses man provide more detailed explanation. The sunglasses man explains that Punishment Headquarters was converted from Namsan Fortress because it operates completely centered on Punishers. Most facilities and personnel are available for Punisher use. He then brings Kim Tae-pil to the support division, the place where fear symbols, meaning uniforms, are created. At this moment, seeing a new member arrive, researcher Song Ha-yang shyly introduces that their support division is responsible for manufacturing various special fibers needed for uniforms, as well as auxiliary equipment. What she's currently repairing in her hands is a mask made from a lightweight yet durable synthetic fiber. This fiber, called Kevlar, has extreme elasticity and feels as light as cotton when worn, yet possesses strength comparable to carbon fiber. Song Ha-yang then hands over an application form, asking Kim Tae-pil to write down his special requirements for the uniform and mask, such as something that looks fierce and distinctive. When Song Ha-yang finishes reviewing Kim Tae-pil's design, she can't help but praise it, stating it will be ready by tomorrow morning and he can pick it up at his convenience. Seeing everything has been arranged properly, properly. The sunglasses man offers to personally escort Kim Tae-pil home, but Kim Tae-pil has nowhere to go temporarily and can only ask if he can stay here for now. Seeing this, the sunglasses man settles him in the duty room, saying he can stay as long as he likes, if he doesn't mind the modest conditions. Kim Tae-pil certainly doesn't mind. For him now, having a place to stay is more than satisfying. The next day, Kim Tae-pil arrives at the support division and puts on the exclusive uniform and mask song Ha-yang created for him. Once he was the hero of the Jumgang Jubilee hijacking incident called Jumgang Yaksha. Now he will once again use Jumgang Yaksha as his symbol to prove to this unjust world that justice that punishes evil exists. As time moves to evening, Andrew still harbors resentment over being attacked by Kim Tae-pil. As a gang boss, he simply cannot live with such humiliation, so he immediately orders his subordinates to contact gang organizations across the country for revenge to restore his reputation. But before his subordinates can begin acting, a masked man suddenly breaks into the base, giving everyone no chance to react. He directly stabs the middle-parted man's stomach into Swiss cheese with a knife. The remaining henchmen are not spared either. In the blink of an eye, they all fall victim to the man's blade. Facing this horrifying scene, Andrew is instantly scared to death, but ultimately cannot escape his fatal end. After everyone is eliminated, the man finally removes his mask. It turns out he is Punisher number 1, Park Jang-sik. In just a few minutes, he perfectly completes this punishment and destroys the surveillance cameras hidden in the ceiling, erasing all traces without a trace. Several days later, a bleached hair guy drinks at a barbecue restaurant. The skinny man dining with him asks if last year's incident was resolved properly. At that time, the bleached hair guy hit on a woman with a child, and after being rejected, he angrily slapped her hard in the middle of the street. Unexpectedly, this comment immediately displeases him. It was clearly the woman's face that accidentally bumped into his palm. The bleached hair guy then raises 3 fingers and tells the skinny man to remember well, flee, deny, connections. If discovered, run away. If caught, deny everything. If neither works, use connections to handle it. Besides, those prosecutors who think they're so great won't waste time on petty criminals like them. But at this moment, the skinny man takes out his phone and warns that recently, evading like that will get you beaten up by people called punishers. Hearing this, the bleached hair guy suddenly remembers. He seems to have received a notice that he was designated as a punishment target, but he doesn't think this is any big deal at all, and deletes that notification without hesitation. From beginning to end, he doesn't believe he committed any crime. By evening, emboldened by alcohol, he acts wildly on the street, and after casually spotting a beautiful woman, evil thoughts immediately arise in his mind. The girl, sensing she's being followed, immediately begins running in panic, but the lecherous bleached hair guy won't easily let this opportunity pass. He follows closely behind the girl with a sinister smile, pressing forward. But unexpectedly, just as he's about to commit his vile act, a man suddenly appears and ruins his plans. This infuriates the bleached hair guy. He continuously curses at the man, saying it's such a shame to miss this woman, and he needs to catch up quickly. But just as he finishes speaking, the man behind him suddenly calls out to him. An ominous feeling immediately rises in his heart. In this society where people are recently on edge, being followed is terrifying. Thinking this, the bleached hair guy is instantly scared and runs desperately. Just when he's exhausted from running and thinks he's safe, that terrifying figure actually catches up. The man behind him says that on December 23rd last year, he grabbed a strange woman walking with her family, spoke vulgar words, and tried to forcibly take her away. The woman's husband rushed forward to protect his wife, but was brutally struck in the jaw, causing him to fall unconscious on the spot. Upon seeing the woman preparing to call the police, he angrily struck her face with his palm, causing her eardrum to rupture with ringing and hearing loss, then repeatedly kicked the fallen woman, causing her internal organs to rupture. So you are the criminal 31-year-old Han Chul-ju, right? Are you ready to receive your punishment? With that, Kim Tae-pil delivers a brutal kick to Han Chul-ju's abdomen. Han Chul-ju, now sprawled on the ground, tries to escape, but he finds himself completely blocked by a wall behind him. In terror, he frantically waves the bottle in his hand, attempting to threaten Kim Tae-pil into leaving. But unexpectedly, Kim Tae-pil simply crushes the bottle with his bare hand. Without warning, he slashes it across Han's face. Just as Han Chul-ju had attacked that woman before, he returns every bit of harm inflicted on the victim. Han Chul-ju clutches his left ear and realizes he cannot hear anything, but the punishment he must face is far from over. In an instant, a heavy boot rains down on him with furious kicks. Under the psychological grip of extreme terror, Han sees Kim Tae-pil transform into a ferocious demon. This is Jumgang Yaksha, originally an evil spirit that captured ordinary people to devour. After converting to Buddhism, it only captures evildoers, and is thus revered as a great guardian deity protecting the righteous. Although the alias Jumgang Yaksha brings back unpleasant memories for Kim Tae-pil, Tae-pil. He still chooses to make it his symbol, simply because depictions of Vajra Yaksha always feature blazing red flames. Tae-pil wants to be just like that. He hopes the fury ignited by injustice will never be extinguished. So when faced with Han Chul-ju's attempt to flee, Tae-pil stays close on his heels, until Han Chul-ju runs into another dead end, and even takes out his phone to call the police. Tae-pil mercilessly kicks him to the ground. Imagine a criminal thinking he can seek help from the police. Seeing this, Tae-pil immediately shatters his delusion. Punishment is an official government procedure. You cannot get help from any government agency. Hearing the word punishment, Han Chul-ju suddenly realizes he did indeed receive a message designating him as a punishment target. Could this person be the so-called Punisher? As Tae-pil grabs Han Chul-ju by the collar again, he strikes him repeatedly while demanding to know why he did such things to that woman. But Han Chul-ju still believes he did nothing wrong. Instead, Tae-pil, who is beating him, is the real lunatic causing chaos everywhere. He even angrily raises an iron rod, threatening to crack Tae-pil's skull open, but he is no match for Tae-pil. This unrepentant resistance only brings him even more brutal punishment. Soon Han Chul-ju feels like he's being beaten to death. In desperation, he remembers comments under previous punishment videos saying the punishment matches the crime exactly. So Han Chul-ju immediately shouts that the beating must be over now, and it should stop. You have already beaten me as much as I beat that person, maybe even worse. Han Chul-ju clutches his stomach and insists he is truly wronged. He only hit her lightly at first, yet she had to be hospitalized. Was that woman faking her injuries? Then he smirks wickedly. Public servants should follow the law, right? You have punished me enough, have you not? Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Tae-pil instantly raises his fist. But just as he prepares to continue punishing Han Chul-ju, a hand suddenly grabs his arm. A stern voice demands that he stop here. Hearing this, Tae-pil violently shakes off the grip. But unexpectedly, this prompts the person to mock him. Criminal scumbags are all the same, aren't they? Insulted out of nowhere. Tae-pil furiously attacks the person, but the other calmly catches his punch and warns him sternly, if I see one more sign of aggression, I will immediately revoke your position as Punisher. Nice to meet you. I am your assigned punishment supervisor, Nam Hae-il. At the same time, other Punishers carrying out their missions are all assigned their own dedicated supervisors. Nam Hae-il then pulls out a report, comparing the current injuries of the criminal Han Chul-ju. He cheerfully announces that Tae-pil has returned equivalent harm to the victim, perhaps even slightly exceeding it. So the punishment is complete, and Tae-pil should clock out immediately. They should go have a beer together, as there are some matters to discuss in detail. But Tae-pil says the punishment is not yet complete. Hearing this, Nam Hae-il's expression darkens instantly. Does he still want to reform the criminal? Someone like Han Chul-ju will never change, will he? Tae-pil agrees completely with Nam Hae-il. Immediately, while Nam Hae-il is completely unprepared, he suddenly clenches his fist and delivers a brutal blow to Han Chul-ju's face. For Tae-pil, punishment is not just about returning equivalent harm to match the victim's suffering. It is also about engraving the terror the victim felt deeply into the criminal's mind. After the punishment ends, Nam Hae-il takes Tae-pil to a burger joint, using the pleasant dining atmosphere. He requests that Tae-pil not go too far. An eye for an eye should be sufficient. Hearing this, Tae-pil cannot help but ask, then we cannot even take a single tear from the perpetrator, can we? This unexpected remark makes Nam Hae-il's heart skip a beat, but he quickly warns Tae-pil that if he continues causing trouble like this, he will have to report it to his superiors. At that point, not only will his Punisher position be revoked, he will also be sent back to that dark prison cell. Unexpectedly, Tae-pil snatches the chips from Nam Hae-il's hand, and he warns Nam Hae-il in return. You may know the law better than I do, but I understand better than you the suffering caused by garbage laws. So please do not do anything to interfere with my punishments. Nam Hae-il did not expect Tae-pil to be so audacious. He wants to see who exactly will be the one getting in the way. Finally, Nam Hae-il waves his phone and reminds Tae-pil to check his messages. With a stern expression, he turns and leaves. Tae-pil pulls out his phone wonderingly. The content is clearly a notification for a new punishment assignment, and the person assigned to work with him on this mission is none other than Nam Hae-il. Moreover, the two must first conduct an investigation as investigators before carrying out any punishment. According to regulations, they should first speak with the victim, but the victim appears to have refused to meet. So this time they will start by investigating the punishment target. The two then arrive at a training facility. Before entering, Nam Hae-il reminds Tae-pil not to forget the investigation protocols. Tae-pil is dismissive. Is it not just confirming protection measures for the punishment target first, and verifying whether the target is willing to appear in court? The law is quite proactive about protecting criminals' human rights. Hearing this, Nam Hae-il tells him not to have that attitude later, or he will anger that famous person. With that, the two officially enter the training facility. Along the way, Tae-pil observes everything cautiously. Soon a photograph catches his attention. This person is Hong Guan Guang-won, the 2004 Athens Olympics wrestling gold medalist. He broke through genetic limitations as an East Asian and dominated victories in major competitions. Afterwards, with his intelligence and handsome appearance, he filmed countless commercials and variety shows, becoming a household name. He currently serves as vice president of the Korean Wrestling Association and national team coach. He is also the perpetrator of violence against a female wrestler, and the punishment target this time. The incident originated when Oh Mi-gyung, a member of the National Wrestling Reserve Team, was injured during training with coach Hong Guang-won. This led to her being disqualified from the national team selection trials. Coach Hong Guang-won explained that this was an accident caused by his excessive enthusiasm during training, and he apologized. But Oh Mi-gyung still filed a lawsuit against Hong Guang-won on grounds of retaliatory violence. Hong Guang-won unilaterally stated that he would settle privately with Oh Mi-gyung and would not attend court. As a result, it became a pending case handed over to punishment headquarters. At this moment, Nam Hae-il is extremely excited. He is a devoted fan of Hong Guang-won. After eagerly pushing open the door, he clearly sees Hong Guang-won already waiting there, welcoming their arrival. As the conversation begins, Hong Guang-won's expression is deeply pained. He explains that this is all a misunderstanding with his student. He also says Oh Mi-gyung is a very talented wrestler, but as a young person, she has a strong competitive spirit. During one sparring session, perhaps driven by the desire to win, Mi-gyung suddenly wanted to pin him to the ground and defeat him. He merely defended himself, but accidentally broke Mi-gyung's fingers. After her injury, Mi-gyung was unable to participate in the National Reserve Team selection trials, so she blamed everything on their sparring training session and sued him. After hearing this, Nam Hae-il checks the documents, which show that the victim's injuries were far more severe than those that would result from sparring training. To this, Hong Guang-won states that wrestling is essentially combat, and frequent injuries are normal in professional level training. He then expresses regret for not fulfilling his responsibilities as a coach. Hearing this, Kim Tae-pil asks him why he did not attend the trial if that is the case. Unexpectedly, Hong Guang-won says the Wrestling Association is nominating him to become the next president. He very much wants to contribute to the wrestling world and provide support for children who love wrestling. Therefore, at that time, he hoped to peacefully resolve the misunderstanding with Mi-gyung without affecting the association. Hong Guang-won closes his eyes helplessly and promises that if Mi-gyung does not drop the lawsuit during the punishment period, he will voluntarily appear in court for trial. But at this moment, Kim Tae-pil notices that there are no surveillance cameras in the training facility. Hong Guang-won's reason is that this is a secret training base. Seeing this, Kim Tae-pil proposes that he would like to have a sparring session with Hong Guang-won as a commemorative gift for his fan, because there might not be another opportunity like this. Hong Guang-won was initially somewhat cautious, but learning that Kim Tae-pil is his fan, he happily agrees. The two then step onto the training mat. Kim Tae-pil had some exposure to wrestling during his military service, so he understands some basic techniques. However, what surprises him is that Hong Guang-won's attack speed is absurdly fast. In just an instant, he throws Kim Tae-pil to the ground. Seeing this, Hong Guang-won politely compliments Kim Tae-pil on his strength. Unfortunately, he has training in the afternoon, so this must be the end. But Kim Tae-pil keeps a firm grip on his hand. With a sincere expression, he requests another try. In this situation, Hong Guang-won cannot easily refuse. He reluctantly cooperates and assumes the wrestling stance again. This time, with the experience from the previous sparring, Kim Tae-pil quickly grabs Hong Guang-won's arm and matches him, and intercepts the hand attempting a sneak attack. But even so, Hong Guang-won quickly adjusts his technique. Without warning, one hand presses down on Kim Tae-pil's neck, the other grabs his thigh. In an instant, he flips and pins him to the ground. As this sparring session finally ends, Hong Guang-won finishes his polite remarks and once again mentions he has matters to attend to. Nam Hae-il also believes that since they have confirmed his willingness to appear in court, there is no need to continue the conversation. So Hong Guang-won hastily leaves with a smile, telling Kim Tae-pil and the other to look around freely. But at this moment, Kim Tae-pil feels puzzled. After 2 sparring sessions, he has sustained no injuries whatsoever. Perhaps the truth about Oh Mi-gyung's injury is far more complex than Hong Guang-won's one-sided account suggests. Kim Tae-pil must find a way to meet the victim herself as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Hong Guang-won, having finally extracted himself, arrives at the conference room. Just as he pulls out a chair to sit beside Korean Wrestling Association President Myung-gyu-jun. Myung-gyu-jun instantly slaps him on the chest and orders him. This month, a member's son will compete in a national tournament. Arrange the bracket properly. You know what I mean, right? Hearing this, Hong Guang-won clenches his teeth silently. Then his expression changes abruptly, and he obsequiously gives a thumbs up, praising the president for being so kind, and truly the only one who thinks about the association. These flattering words please Myung-gyu-jun greatly, and the atmosphere in the room immediately becomes relaxed. But at this moment, one member deliberately brings up the matter of Hong Guang-won being sued by an athlete. Only then does Myung-gyu-jun remember that to prevent this matter from spreading to the media, the association spent quite a bit of money. The person continues, saying that if this problem cannot be resolved, they will have to nominate someone else to succeed as president. Seeing this, the meeting attendees begin to stir with ambition. Hong Guang-wong is so enraged by this scene that his entire body trembles. He instantly springs from his seat and slams his fist on the table. He roars furiously, "You parasites who have never won a single medal and still want to climb higher, how dare you say such things?" Hong Guang-wong then assures Myung-Gyu-jun that he will definitely make Oh Mi-kyung drop the lawsuit and has already taken care of the other athletes and reporters. Hearing this, Myung-Gyu-jun issues an ultimatum. If Hong wants to succeed him as president after retirement, he must control those troublemaking athletes. Hong Guang-wong forces a helpless smile. He thought that after this damned meeting ended, he could catch his breath, but unexpectedly, as soon as he exits, he runs into Jung Jin-ju, a wrestler and friend of Oh Mi-kyung. Jung immediately questions him. Those two people who came to see Hong Guang-wong today, are they related to Mi-kyung's injury and withdrawal from training? And among the female athletes, Mi-kyung's skills are clearly the strongest. Why was she not selected for the reserve team in the first place? Faced with this series of questions, Hong Guang-wong's eyes instantly flash with menace. Without warning, he delivers a heavy punch to Jung Jin-ju's abdomen. What a disrespectful punk. How dare you speak to your coach in that tone? Mi-kyung was not selected because she was too distracted by her romance with you. Hong Guang-wong then kicks Jung Jin-ju on the ground viciously. He grabs his hair and warns him, "Understand your situation, punk. You think you can sue me? Without Mi-kyung, you would never have reached your current position." As he finishes speaking, Hong Guang-wong delivers a vicious slap. Finally, he steps on Jung Jin-ju's face and threatens him to behave, otherwise he will not even know how he died. With that, he answers a phone call and hurries off to a nearby barbecue restaurant to attend to the president. At this moment, Jung Jin-ju, lying on the ground, forces back the tears welling in his eyes. He slams his fist on the ground, hating his own powerlessness. However, a voice suddenly speaks. Kim Tae-pil stands at the doorway and asks, "Why not call the police? You are friends with athlete Oh Mi-kyung, right?" Hearing this, Jung Jin-ju raises his head. He remembers passing by Kim Tae-pil earlier in the day. He asks, puzzled, what business Kim has with him. Seeing this, Kim Tae-pil extends his hand and explains there is something he would like to ask of Jung Jin-ju. As time reaches late night, Hong Guang-wong, having finished fawning before the president, carries several large bags of food, specifically to reward the athletes still training hard. But at this moment, the indoor lights suddenly go out. A dark figure walks in from outside the door. Under Hong Guang-wong's bewildered gaze, this tall and terrifying figure announces with authority, "44-year-old Hong Guang-wong, I am here to execute your punishment." Hearing this, Hong Guang-wong cannot help but break into a cold sweat, but he still tries to appear calm and says there seems to be some misunderstanding. Investigators came during the day and said the matter was smoothly resolved. Unexpectedly, Kim Tae-pil directly exposes his facade. What misunderstanding would lead you to inflict violence on your own athlete for over an hour? Hearing this, Hong Guang-wong becomes furious. Watch your words. That was just a normal injury during training. But as a video suddenly plays, the footage shows the entire process of Hong Guang-wong assaulting Mi-kyung. Seeing the truth exposed like this in front of all the athletes, Hong Guang-wong immediately goes berserk, grabbing a bag of food, and violently smashes the projector playing the evidence. To preserve his last shred of dignity, he suppresses his violent nature and tells the young athletes to leave first. Finally, when only the two of them remain, Hong Guang-wong takes a long breath. Even at this point, he still makes excuses, claiming Mi-kyung is completely talking nonsense. Hearing this, Kim Tae-pil tells him not to worry, he will faithfully recreate it for him. Seeing this, Hong Guang-wong stops pretending and laughs loudly. If he must be punished, he will completely destroy Oh Mi-kyung and those fellow athletes. But unexpectedly, Kim Tae-pil says this has nothing to do with the punishment. It turns out that, just a few hours ago, Kim Tae-pil found Oh Mi-kyung through Jung Jin-ju. When Oh Mi-kyung saw the injuries on Jung Jin-ju's face, she knew full well it was Hong Guang-wong's doing again. She finally could not hold back and erupted. She agreed to Kim Tae-pil's request and sat down together to tell him the entire truth. The athletes actually all knew about her being assaulted back then. At that time, she was dissatisfied with the reserve team selection. She angrily called Hong Guang-wong shameless for only putting athletes with connections on the reserve team list. But unexpectedly, Hong Guang-wong turned the tables and said this was complete slander. If she really disagreed, she should try to defeat him. Those so-called connected athletes had all beaten him in sparring training. With that, Hong Guang-wong unilaterally entered wrestling mode. Before Mi-kyung could even react, he suddenly grabbed her hand, instantly pinning her firmly to the ground. He began inflicting inhumane, violent beatings. The wrestling champion had her right leg deliberately broken by the coach. She originally wanted to use the video of the coach's assault to bring him calm down, but the coach came to her door with threats. "You can disregard your own future, but you cannot let your fellow athletes and close friend Jung Jin-ju's lives be ruined, can you? How agonizing it would be to be resented by your friends for the rest of your life." Unsurprisingly, these words hit Mi-kyung's weak spot directly, making her hesitate until now about whether to speak out regardless of the consequences. But now, seeing her friend Jung Jin-ju injured by Coach Hong Gwang-won, Mi-kyung thinks perhaps she really must give up. But at this moment, case investigator Kim Tae-pil raises the punishment statement, reconfirming with Mi-kyung the true extent of her injuries, because he is going to punish Hong Gwang-won. This action shocks Mi-kyung. She frantically begs him not to do this. She has already decided to withdraw the lawsuit, but Kim Tae-pil directly ignores her request. The decision to punish lies with the punisher, not with the victim's wishes. Thus, while Hong Gwang-won is completely unprepared, Kim Tae-pil, transformed into the punisher, directly enters the training facility and announces that the punishment will now officially begin. But at this moment, Hong Gwang-won, relying on his status as a national-level wrestling coach, actually turns around and arrogantly provokes him. He will make this so-called punisher crawl out of here. As he finishes speaking, Hong Gwang-won raises his left leg high, kicking up the jacket on the floor to block Kim Tae-pil's vision, then instantly accelerates and grabs a leg, suddenly hoisting Kim Tae-pil onto his shoulder, using his monstrous brute strength to slam him violently to the ground. Then he swings his fist with tremendous destructive power, mounting Kim Tae-pil's body and striking wildly. Seeing that the person beneath him only defends with no ability to fight back, Hong Gwang-won's confidence soars even higher. He even boasts that to fight him, at least 4 punishers should come together. Finally, he reaches out to remove Kim Tae-pil's ridiculous mask to see which suicidal punk this is. But just as he is about to succeed, excruciating pain shoots through all 5 deformed fingers simultaneously. In an instant, agonizing screams echo throughout the entire training facility. Hong Gwang-won never imagined that the punisher allowed him to attack desperately just to break his fingers. Now, with one hand losing its offensive capability, Kim Tae-pil immediately breaks free from his hold, actually as early as after sparring with Hong Gwang-won and discovering not a trace of injury on his arms. Tae-pil guessed that Hong Gwang-won was lying. Someone capable of performing at that level in different situations would not be so clumsy as to let a student get accidentally injured during training. At this moment, Hong Gwang-won finally realizes the punisher before him is the investigator who spoke with him during the day, unable to accept being played like this. He swings his other uninjured hand again and rushes toward Kim Tae-pil to attack. This is exactly the behavior Kim Tae-pil has been waiting for. During the punishment process, if the punishment target evades and counterattacks and reaches a level that poses a threat to the punisher, additional punishment can be requested. At this moment, Nam Hae-il, quietly watching all of this from outside the door, hears the request for additional punishment and can only agree since it fully meets the criteria. Thus, a large hand immediately covers Hong Gwang-won's face, officially beginning hell-level punishment. Hong Gwang-won, who for 30 years competed in wrestling matches within safety rules, faces violence unconstrained by ethical rules and has absolutely no resistance. He is utterly devastated, both physically and mentally, into despair. Watching this brutal scene, Mi-kyung, also standing outside the door, is deeply worried. After suffering such devastation, Hong Gwang-won will surely come back to retaliate against them. Seeing this, Nam Hae-il pats their shoulders with a sorrowful expression. He says Hong Gwang-won probably will not be able to retaliate. If Hong is someone who uses violence for money, power, and prestige, Kim Tae-pil is a predator whose sole purpose is to destroy his opponent through pure violence. Even though Hong Gwang-won has techniques accumulated from a lifetime of training, in the face of the mortal terror that Kim Tae-pil brings, everything becomes utterly meaningless. At this point, Hong Gwang-won, tortured to the point of being covered in blood with only half a life left, lying on the ground, desperately crying out for someone to save him. But the only response is a large hand reaching out from behind, mercilessly dragging him back into hell. As the punishment of Hong Gwang-won comes to an end, Kim Tae-pil sits outside the training facility, watching the athletes still training hard on the field. Kim Tae-pil does not know whether this will change the long-standing abuses of the Wrestling Association. Unexpectedly, Nam Hae-il laughs at his naivety. Of course, it cannot be changed. As he finishes speaking, he holds up a file. The content is news about the Wrestling Association beginning internal restructuring because of Kim Tae-pil's punishment of Hong Gwang-won. Combined with the behind-the-scenes maneuvering by capable people like Nam Hae-il, the Wrestling Association took such action so quickly. So Nam Hae-il retracts his previous prejudice against Kim Tae-pil, since they will be working together from now on. The two should cooperate well and help each other. Nam Hae-il then happily takes out his phone, showing the bright smiles of Mi-kyung, Jung Jin-ju, and the other athletes. Although no one can foresee what changes punishment will bring in the future, at least now, those who were harmed like Mi-kyung feel genuine joy. And because punishment incidents have been occurring frequently recently, many citizens are shocked to discover that the punishers wearing special uniforms are actually government-certified legal vigilantes. Fanatics have even emerged, creating rankings of punishers online. First, ranked 5th is someone who suddenly appears on the streets without warning. A white-haired warrior who crashes through glass windows to punish criminals, nicknamed Mad Dog. Next, ranked 4th is someone who treats punishment as an art, using gravity-defying stunts to teach scumbags a lesson, nicknamed Tornado. Third place habitually uses super long legs for punishment, Viper, who has captured the hearts of many male fans. Second place, according to unofficial statistics, has carried out the most punishments, making the legs of criminal scumbags tremble, Judgment, wearing a demon-like mask. But Kim Tae-pil does not care about these rankings popular in society. What he cares about is only the next case to handle. Unexpectedly, Nam Hae-il says this time it is not a case, but a special summons from Congressman Shi Jin-soo. Recently, while a punisher was carrying out a mission, he unexpectedly encountered a biker gang that surrounded him, and in a live stream called Devil Dog, they broadcast the entire chase of the Punisher. This has become a recent viral video, and because it contains content inconsistent with the facts, Punishment Headquarters is rapidly taking action. But due to the developed nature of the internet, they currently cannot keep up with the spread. This is a major problem for Punishment Headquarters in the stage of gradually establishing credibility, so Shi Jin-soo needs Kim Tae-pil to step forward as soon as possible to assist in handling the case. This violent incident occurred one early morning. Yoon Joo-hyun, a small framed man in his 60s, was slapped repeatedly by a teenager who demanded a one-on-one fight.